It usually starts the same way. You're sitting at your desk or sipping coffee on the couch, and your cat hops onto the table. Slowly, deliberately, they reach out a paw. You know what's coming, but it's too late. The pen, the phone, the glass of water, it goes crashing to the floor. Your cat just walks away. Calm. Unbothered. Like they accomplished something. And you're left wondering, why do they always do this? If you've asked yourself this, you're not alone, and you're definitely not imagining things. Cat owners all over the world experience this puzzling, and sometimes frustrating, behavior. But here's the good news. There's real science and instinct behind it, and understanding it can help you change it. Let's break down the 5 most common reasons cats knock things over, and more importantly, what you can do about it. 1. Curiosity. Let's start with the most common, and honestly, the most innocent, reason your cat might be knocking things over: curiosity. And if you've ever had a cat, you already know, they are extremely curious animals. This behavior isn't just random mischief. It actually comes from a deep-rooted instinct. Think about it. Cats in the wild had to investigate everything. Every leaf that rustled, every rock that moved slightly in the wind, every sound, they had to inspect it. Was it prey? Was it a threat? Was it just something interesting? That same instinct hasn't gone away just because your cat now lives in a cozy home with snacks on demand and a soft bed by the window. So when your cat walks up to your pen or your water bottle and taps it with their paw, they're not trying to annoy you. What they're really doing is asking, what is this thing? Will it move? Will it make a noise? Their paws are incredibly sensitive, they're like little sensors. Tapping or swatting an object helps your cat learn about the world around them. And when that object rolls, tips, or crashes to the floor, well, that's data. Your cat just did an experiment, and they got a result. That's a win for them. This is especially true for kittens and younger cats. Everything is new to them. They're still figuring out what's part of their environment and what they can do with it. But even older cats don't really outgrow this behavior. Their environment constantly changes. New items appear on tables, things get moved around, smells shift, so the curiosity stays alive. Now, here's the part that really matters. What can you do about it? Trying to stop your cat from being curious is like trying to stop water from being wet. It's just who they are. But what you can do is guide that curiosity in a better direction. One of the most effective things you can do is redirect their attention to something that's safe and engaging. Puzzle feeders, for example, are a fantastic way to stimulate their mind. Crinkle balls, cardboard boxes, tunnels, and paper bags. These are all low-risk items that your cat can explore without risk of breaking anything or hurting themselves. At the same time, take a look at the surfaces your cat loves to jump on. Are you leaving tempting items, like small electronics, fragile decorations, or even cups and glasses, within paw's reach? If so, you're giving your cat more experiments to conduct. Simply moving those items or storing them away can go a long way in reducing accidents. So no, your cat isn't out to ruin your favorite mug or drive you up the wall. They're just being who they are, natural explorers with a need to touch, swat, and test the world around them. And with a little understanding and some smart redirection, you can let your cat be curious without sacrificing your shelves in the process. 2. Hunting instinct. The second big reason your cat might be knocking things over, and this one runs even deeper than curiosity. It's their hunting instinct. Even if your cat has never stepped paw outside, and even if they've lived their whole life on comfy couches and plush carpets, that primal hunting instinct is still alive and well. Cats are natural-born hunters. It's in their DNA. And one of the ways that instinct shows up, especially when they don't have actual prey to chase, is by turning ordinary objects into targets. Think about the kinds of things cats are drawn to knock over: pens, earbuds, bottle caps, keys, even hair ties. Small, light, and easy to bat around. To us, they're just random household items. To your cat? They resemble prey. They're small, they move when touched, and they often make interesting sounds when they fall. Your cat isn't trying to ruin your things. They're engaging in a behavior that feels as natural to them as breathing. In the wild, a cat might come across a mouse that freezes in place to avoid detection. The cat will give it a nudge or a swat just to see if it moves. That same behavior is happening when your cat bats a pen off the table and then stares at it on the floor. They're testing it, checking for a response, following a mental script that goes way back to their ancestors. Even heavier objects, like books, remotes, or cups, can become targets, especially if they're on the edge of a surface or they reflect light in a way that catches your cat's eye. To them, the thrill of the hunt doesn't need to end in catching anything. The process itself is satisfying. So, what can you do if your cat's inner hunter is turning your home into a crime scene of scattered belongings? Here's the thing. You're never going to fully eliminate the hunting instinct. Nor should you. It's a vital part of your cat's mental health. But you can give them better, more appropriate outlets for it. Try incorporating structured playtime into your cat's day. Use toys that mimic prey, like wand toys with feathers, little mice that squeak, or even battery-powered toys that move unpredictably. The idea is to give your cat the chance to stalk, chase, and pounce. This taps into their natural behaviors in a healthy, controlled way. Also, consider the timing. Cats are crepuscular, which means they're most active during dawn and dusk. If your cat tends to get the zoomies and the swatting early in the morning or right before bed, plan your play sessions around those times. A good 10 to 15 minutes of active play can leave your cat feeling satisfied and a lot less likely to channel that energy into knocking things off the shelf at 3 a.m. And finally, just like with curiosity-based behavior, look at what you're leaving within reach. If your cat has a favorite item they're always knocking off your desk, ask yourself, does it look like a toy? Does it move easily? Does it make a noise that grabs their attention? If the answer is yes, it's probably triggering that inner predator. Remove it, replace it with an actual toy, and you've taken a big step toward curbing the chaos. So next time your cat knocks your TV remote onto the floor, try to see it from their point of view. They're not being bad. They're being a little lion, trapped in a living room, looking for prey. 3. Attention-seeking behavior. Yep, sometimes your cat is knocking things over simply because it gets your attention. And before you say, but I'm not rewarding them, I'm yelling, that's kind of the point. From your cat's perspective, a big reaction is still a reaction. You could laugh, scold, gasp, or come running, doesn't matter. You're engaging with them. And for some cats, especially those who feel a little bored or ignored, that's enough reason to keep doing it. Let's break it down. Imagine your cat is sitting on the counter, and you're deep in your phone or computer. They meow, but you don't respond. So they push your pen off the edge. You suddenly look up and say, "Hey, stop that." Now your cat's thinking, interesting. I touched something, and now I've got your attention. It doesn't mean your cat is plotting or trying to be manipulative. They're just learning what works. They're smart. They observe you more than you realize. And if something they do consistently gets a reaction, they're going to keep doing it. This is especially common in cats who are left alone during the day or who live in quieter homes. If their environment isn't offering much stimulation, they'll find a way to make things happen. And sometimes that way involves sending objects flying. So what's the fix? How do you handle a cat that's knocking things over just to make you look? The key is to refocus the behavior before it starts, and to avoid making a big deal when it does happen. That doesn't mean you ignore your cat all the time, just the opposite. Make sure they're getting positive, structured attention throughout the day. Short, quality check-ins matter more than you think. Set up a routine. Maybe you play with your cat in the morning before work, then again in the evening. Even just 5 or 10 minutes of interactive play twice a day can make a big difference. Use this time to fully engage with them, talk, play, reward calm behavior. Let them know they don't have to knock over your coffee mug just to be seen. Next, when they do knock something over, especially if it's a clear bid for attention, try to respond without drama. Calmly pick the object up, say nothing, and then redirect your cat to something they're allowed to interact with. A toy, a puzzle feeder, or even a treat dispensing ball can do the trick. Another trick is anticipating the behavior before it starts. If you know your cat tends to act out during your Zoom meetings or while you're cooking, prepare a distraction ahead of time. Give them something engaging that occupies their mind and keeps them away from the countertop drama. And finally, remember that this behavior might not stop overnight. It takes time to build new habits, just like it took time for your cat to learn that knocking things over gets your attention. But with consistency, positive engagement, and a little patience, you can shift that behavior towards something more manageable. So the next time your cat shoves your phone off the nightstand and then stares at you like, well, are you gonna do something? Don't take it personally. They're not trying to annoy you. They're just trying to connect. And with a little redirection, you can give them what they need, without losing your stuff in the process. 4. Boredom and understimulation. Now let's talk about a big one that doesn't always get enough attention. Boredom and understimulation. If your cat is home all day with nothing interesting to do, they're going to find something to fill that time. And unfortunately for your favorite shelf or side table, that something often involves batting things around just for fun. Here's the reality. Cats might sleep a lot, but when they're awake, they need activity. They're not lazy creatures by nature. In fact, they're built for bursts of high-energy hunting and climbing. So if they don't have enough outlets for their energy, they'll start to improvise. And that's when things start mysteriously falling off tables. Picture it from their point of view. They wake up from a nap, do a nice long stretch, and want something stimulating to engage with. But the toys are all under the couch, you're not home, and the house is quiet. Then they notice a small shiny object on your desk. It's just sitting there, doing nothing. But when they tap it, it moves. Then it makes a noise. Then it drops. Instant entertainment. The sound of the crash, the visual of it falling, maybe even your reaction from across the room. That's stimulation. It breaks up the monotony. It becomes a game. This kind of behavior is even more common in indoor-only cats, especially those without much enrichment. And it's not their fault. When cats don't have trees to climb, prey to chase, or objects to investigate, they'll start looking for ways to make life more exciting. So how do you help your cat feel fulfilled without sacrificing your belongings? First, enrich their environment. Think of your home from your cat's perspective. Are there places to jump, perch, scratch, or hide? If your cat spends most of their day on the floor or the couch, they're not getting the variety they need. Add vertical space. Things like cat trees, shelves, or even cleared windowsills with a view of birds or squirrels. Elevation gives cats more territory and keeps their brain engaged. Next, rotate toys regularly. Cats get bored with the same toy lying around all the time. You don't need to buy something new every week. Just keep a small collection and rotate them every few days. When an old toy comes back after being hidden for a while, it feels fresh again. Also, try interactive toys and feeders. Puzzle toys that dispense treats or toys that move on their own give your cat something to solve or chase. It taps into their natural desire to hunt and explore. And if they're busy swatting a treat ball across the floor, they're way less likely to be swatting your coffee mug off the counter. If you're not home during the day, consider leaving on some cat-friendly entertainment. Videos with birds, fish, or soft sounds can keep them interested. Just make sure they have something constructive to do when you're not around. And lastly, build playtime into your daily schedule. You don't need to spend an hour entertaining your cat, but even 10 minutes of focused, high-energy play can make a world of difference. Use a wand toy, toss soft balls, or simulate a mini hunt. The more energy your cat burns during the day, the more relaxed and content they'll be afterward. So if your cat is knocking things over out of sheer boredom, don't see it as bad behavior. See it as a signal. They're looking for more to do. And with a few small changes, you can turn their destructive curiosity into healthy, satisfying exploration. 5. Lack of consequences. It works, so why stop? Now here's one that might sting a little, not because your cat is being bad, but because it's actually our response that sometimes encourages the behavior without us realizing it. The fifth reason your cat keeps knocking things over is simple: because they can, and nothing really happens when they do. Think about it. Your cat jumps on the table. They see something interesting. They give it a little push, and it falls. Maybe you sigh, maybe you pick it up, maybe you even scold them, but then? Life goes on. For your cat, there's no real downside. In fact, in some cases, there's a fun sound, a movement, and maybe even some attention from you. So they learn, well, that was kind of cool. Let's try it again later. Unlike dogs, cats aren't wired to care much about approval or discipline in the same way. They don't have that built-in need to please. They're more independent thinkers. They learn through outcomes. So if the outcome of knocking something over is harmless, or even fun, why would they stop? And to make things even trickier, if sometimes you laugh, sometimes you yell, and other times you ignore it, you're creating what's called intermittent reinforcement. That means your reactions are unpredictable, and ironically, that makes the behavior more likely to continue. Your cat doesn't know when they'll get a big reaction or when they won't, so they keep doing it just to see what happens. But here's the thing. We don't need to punish them. That won't work. What we need to do is make the environment less rewarding for that behavior, and more rewarding for alternative, healthier behaviors. So what can you do? First off, take a look at your cat's environment. Is it too easy for them to reach and swat your stuff? If so, start by making those tempting spaces less accessible or less interesting. Clear clutter off tables. Secure items that always seem to end up on the floor. If your cat has a favorite launch zone, find a way to gently discourage them from using it, without scaring them. Something like a silicone mat with a bumpy texture or double-sided tape can do the trick. Most cats dislike certain surfaces under their paws, so they'll learn to avoid the area altogether. Next, create what's called positive redirection. If your cat's about to swipe something, gently call their name, toss them a toy, or redirect their attention to something acceptable. The key is to catch them before the object goes flying, not after. You want to reinforce the idea that they can engage with their environment, but in a way that doesn't involve knocking over your phone or plant pot. Another important tip is to make sure they have designated areas where they're allowed to climb, explore, and paw at things freely. Cat trees, shelves, or play zones filled with their toys send a clear message. This is your space to do your thing. If every surface in your home is off limits, your cat's going to test boundaries out of sheer need. And when accidents do happen, stay calm. Don't yell. Don't chase. Just quietly clean up and redirect them without turning it into a dramatic moment. The less exciting the outcome, the less interesting the behavior becomes over time. So yes, sometimes cats knock things over because it's rewarding, and because there's no clear reason not to. But instead of seeing it as defiance or mischief, think of it as an opportunity to guide your cat towards something better. With just a few changes in your response and setup, you can turn a bad habit into a forgotten phase. You should also know that sometimes, knocking things over isn't just curiosity or boredom. It could be a sign of stress, anxiety, or even illness. If your cat suddenly starts knocking things down more frequently, or if the behavior seems frantic or obsessive, it might be worth paying closer attention. Stressors like a move, new pet, new baby, or changes in routine can make cats act out in unexpected ways. Knocking things over might be your cat's way of coping with an unstable environment. In rare cases, medical issues like hyperthyroidism or cognitive decline can lead to increased activity, agitation, or confusion. This might look like naughty behavior but is really a call for help. Observe the full picture. Is your cat also meowing more, hiding, eating less, or acting differently overall? If so, consult your vet. It's always better to rule out medical issues early. Rather than constantly trying to correct your cat, focus on setting up a space that helps them behave well naturally. This includes clearing clutter from high surfaces, securing breakables, and creating safe zones where they're encouraged to explore. You can also use positive reinforcement training to shape behavior. Reward calm curiosity. Offer toys when your cat approaches a table. Use treats to reinforce them, choosing a scratching post or toy instead of your coffee mug. Consistency, patience, and understanding go a long way. Thanks so much for watching and sticking with this all the way to the end. If this helped you understand your cat better, or if you've been nodding along the whole time, go ahead and subscribe for more thoughtful, realistic cat advice. We break things down in a way that actually makes sense for real-life pet owners like you. Take care, and give your curious little explorer a gentle pat from us.